1,080. Document doing that for
what he not going to say is Trump allowed the same thing.
Around interesting stuff. When it comes to basically, and this was written in February 22nd, 2024. They're now saying that basically
new immigrants' voting abilities, and this is on the Social Security channel that I watch. He streamed this a month ago. If you're on Ssdi or SSI, that means people who retired. And I've been saying this for at least the last 5 months. It's been 2 years I've been saying it, but at least the last 5 months that they're coming over here at an alarming rate, and they are outnumbering us, and they are letting them vote. Ain't nobody listening to me. That's why I said when I'm president, they have to go. Hopefully I'm at the right spot.
Border an amount greater than the population of 36 states. Now, let me just explain something real quick with this, because this is very, very interesting stuff. When it comes to basically, and this was written in February 22nd, 2024. Mm-hmm. They're now saying that basically around 7.4, just over those little bit of months, 7.4 million immigrants, illegal immigrants, have actually come through the southern border. Now, what's interesting about this is that at this rate, they will surpass by the end of this year, likely, or potentially the year after that, how many Ssdi people there are. And so what's interesting about that is that the amount of illegal immigrants coming just across the border since Biden took office over a 3-year plus-ish, amount of time has now it hasn't just yet, it's about to, will very soon surpass the amount of disabled people that are currently in this country. Now, think about that for a moment. That means that if these individuals had actual voting rights, then, let's just be fair here, they would have better voting capacity than the disabled people and, anyone attached to them that has the capacity to vote that are considered to be dependents, and there's a school provision that allows people to vote up until, there's a 2022 or 22 option for age, but we're not doing that for this video. But the point is, they will over this year or next year surpass how many disabled there are. Now, I want to point something out real quick because I think it's important. This was essentially from 2021. And I want to go through what it is because it's super duper important. Check this out. So President Biden's immigration plan legalizes millions of undocumented workers. The proposal calls for clearing green card backlogs, higher wages for H-1B holders. This was produced on January 20th, 2021 by Roy Moore. Basically, what he stated was newly sworn in President Joe Biden unveiled legislation January 20th that would...
Did you hear what he said? January 21st, 2021. Maybe he meant 2024.
Create a pathway to citizenship for the roughly 10 million to 12 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States, offering expedited green card eligibility to dreamers and undocumented immigrants brought into the country as children, as well as those under temporary protected status and farm workers. So keep in mind that number in 2021, if we go back to our statistics here, right? In 2021, how many Ssdi people were there? There were a total of 9,218,080. So what's amazing is that of the undocumented illegal immigrants that were here, they already had enough that they were trying to convert that would basically overwhelm any vote that the disabled could have. Mm-hmm. So check this out, okay? All right, let's go through this real quick so you kind of have the breakdown, the bill breakdown. The legislation contains several measures important to employers, including clearing employment-based visa backlogs by recapturing unused visas and eliminating per-country visa caps. It is the intent of Congress that unused employment visas are reallocated to other categories so that the total number of authorized visas any year is actually issued, said Susan Cohen, an attorney with Mintz in Boston. That has not happened over the years. We've lost a number of unused visas due to lack of oversight. The bill would seek to recapture those visas to help clear up the backlog. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so I wish he would say the bill, because when I called Crockett's number and I said Congress was doing this, it didn't go to the Senate yet. Yes, it did. It didn't go under HR 192, but it did. They wanted to tweak it to allow what he's saying. And then it went back down to the House of Representative, and now it just passed under 192. I'm sorry, actually the bill failed, but this is what I've been telling y'all.
Fine. Next thing, making staying in the U.S. easier for graduates of U.S. universities who have earned advanced science, technology, engineering, and math degrees. They're going to work on that. Improving access to green cards for workers in lower wage sectors, right? Because that's the gateway to becoming a U.S. citizen. Okay. Codifying work authorization for spouses of H-1B visa holders, creating a pilot program to stimulate regional economic development, establishing a commission to make recommendations for improving the employment verification process, increasing penalties for employers of seasonal foreign workers who violate labor laws, seeking higher wages for guest workers to prevent unfair competition within the U.S., and then basically it just goes on and on. But the whole thing here is, and I'll read to you this paragraph real quick because this is important. Here, I'll go over here and give you the basic thing. The expensive proposal, which would need to be approved by Congress, is the most sweeping immigration reform package introduced since 2013. So remember, the Obama era, that was interesting because he would kick a lot of people out. A lot of people didn't know that about Obama. Obama kicked a lot of illegal immigrants out.
He did, and he let a lot stay, though.
If it passes, it would usher in the biggest changes for immigrants since 1986, when President Ronald Reagan signed legislation granting legal status to 3 million people who were in the country without documentation.
Right, and that was a one-time deal.
In my opinion, what's going to happen is the only legislation that's sizable, that's actually going to be passed through over the next so many months before the election actually occurs, is massive legalization of potentially 10 to 15 million illegal immigrants. Now remember, this was when he just got into office. There were already 10 to 12 million undocumented illegal immigrants in this country that he was trying to convert. Under Biden's plan, undocumented immigrants living in the U.S. as of January 1st, 2021, would have a 5-year path to permanent residence if they pass background checks, pay taxes, and fulfill other requirements. From there, it is a 3-year path to naturalization if they pursue citizenship. The Department of Homeland Security may waive the president's requirement for those deported during the years of the Trump administration if they were physically present for at least 3 years prior to removal. So in other words, they could get like an instant in. So now what's interesting about that is that we now go to the current date. And here's kind of the current information that you need to know about. Published March 29, 2024 at 10:25 a.m. Undocumented immigrants. Here's basically what it states. This is by Suzanne Blake. This is a reporter consumer and social trends for immigrant Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, and then it goes through a whole bunch of people. Streamlining pathways for undocumented immigrants with no criminal history and deep ties to the United States to obtain parole. Remember, when the immigrants do criminal activity, not all of them are getting charged. So there's a little bit of an issue with that there. But okay, so anyway, or a lawful immigration status would provide stability to their families, require them to pay taxes and to check in with the U.S. government regularly. What they didn't mention here is that quite a few of them are going to go onto the 7-year SSI, Supplemental Security Income Program, with the 2-year up option. Now, okay, so nationally, undocumented immigrants pay around $9.7 billion in federal and state taxes, as well as more than $11 billion into the ailing Social Security system. Many of these immigrants are also a part of American citizens' families, as more than 1.1 million U.S. citizens have an undocumented immigrant as a spouse, and 4.9 million U.S. citizens' children have an undocumented parent. So what they're trying to make the argument here is that, look, it's good for Social Security because it pays $11 billion into the system, and that's good. Now, $11 billion is nothing. That's like nothing in the scheme of the trillions needed to keep the program afloat and running. But still, that's the argument they're making. So it's
but they're replacing us out.
With that
bottom
said,
line.
Is it buffering?
Okay, so I got so many. We're live. I got to catch up
How
on
the
some
hell
things.
did we jump to that? Anyway, I just wanted to share that because that's why I'm running for president, to stop it. It's ridiculous.